Hello everyone for Channel 6 Community Focus. I'm Dennis George and joined today by the Honorable Judge Executive Marion County, David Daugherty, and welcome aboard and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Dennis. Happy New Year to everybody.
You've completed your first year. Let's kind of review for a minute or two or however much time it takes where you are today versus when you stepped into this job a year ago.
I feel like it's things are becoming more familiar with me. Some of the annual things are showing back up. Last year I didn't have any clue about a lot of stuff that went on, and now it seems to be a lot more comfortable. You know, I'm getting a lot more calls on your roads, and last week we had floods, and you know, it just seems like I understand more of what the job is all about.
So you feel, I mean, last year I'm sure you came into the job somewhat apprehensive about what you were getting yourself into, as anybody would in their first day on a new job or their first year. Do you feel like now you're in a comfortable position where you can lead and do more things just because your feet are wet now?
I feel that way, really. I feel a lot better about it. And like I say, getting to know your staff and you know, the actual job itself. It's and I've been told 2 to 3 years is what it really takes. And I'll be honest with you, I learn something new every day. So, but things are getting to be regular events, so it's getting a little easier.
Well, and when some younger people have come to me and they'll say they're going to run for something, and the first thing I tell them is, you're not going to change the world the first day you come into office. And I think, of course, I think you've always been one to sit back and survey a situation, especially the background that you came from. But as you move forward, you understand the things you need to do.
For the first year, like I say, I definitely didn't make any drastic changes. I didn't change any of the staff. We got a great group of folks that work for the county. So a lot of new people that I heard in other counties, they'd go in and do like you said. They think they're going to change the world and create problems is what they do. And I don't have any intention of doing that. I think we got a great county, and if it's not broke, let's don't fix it. So, you know, it's going pretty good.
Well, and you were blessed coming in and continue to be blessed in that the county financial situation is not one where the county's broke, looking on how to pay bills. You know, a lot of that comes from good fiscal management over the years, and a lot of it comes from the economic situation here in the county.
Exactly.
If you want to expand on that some.
Definitely, Marion County is in a lot better shape than a lot of counties due to predecessors, John G., Dave Hergen. You know, the occupational tax is really put us where we're at. Our current industry, you know, we've got a great economic development office that recruits industry, helps our current industry grow. A lot of people don't have what we have in that situation. You know, we've just got a great group of folks. Our city, we all work together really, really well. So.
Well, and I think, you know, when you look at, and I know you have the numbers of the unemployment rate in this county, probably just over 4%. And I barely remember my economics classes in about 1974, and I always thought, well, if they know how economics works and how the system should work, why should we have high inflation and all those things? But when you're down to about 4%, you're at about 100% of employment, because there's a certain percentage that doesn't want to work.
Certain percentage that are in seasonal work, or, you know, that's also in that number. Roughly, through economic development, Karen has shared with me, there's about 76 jobs currently in Marion County that are, you know, that need to be filled. So, if anybody does have a problem finding a job, by all means, notify us. If you need help with anything, I know some people don't like to fill out applications, don't understand how to do all that. There's people that'll help you. So, you know. We're here to help and hopefully get everybody to work in it.
All right. Won't you share some of the economic news that we have? I mean, I know you have some numbers, you know, versus some of the other counties in the area.
Currently, right now, Marion County's unemployment rate is at 4.8%, 4.4%. versus Washington County, our neighboring county, is at 4%. So, you know, they're also doing rather well. Nelson County's 4.3, Green's 4.4, Mercer 4.7, LaRue 4.7, Boyle County, which used to be, you know, had all the jobs, they're up to 5% right now. Casey at 5.1 and Adair at 6.2. Also, if you'll look back in roughly 2009, at one time, or at 2010, we were right at 15% unemployment. So, you know, over a 5 or 6 year period, we've really done well. And in saying that, what that's done is our occupational tax has been up a tremendous amount over the past couple of years.
And for a lot of those years, there's been no need to increase the property tax rate.
That's the reason, Dennis. That's the reason. And there's, you know, we'd like to be able to cut taxes, but you got to look at our benefits. You know, we furnish insurance for our county employees, which is a great benefit, but with this year it went up 8%. That's a lot of money, you know, over.
You pay 100% on a family or your individual, or how do you?
We don't pay 100% on a family. We do. We've got our benefits card that we allow, but we've got a great benefits plan for them, and it's worth a lot of money to the employees themselves. But it is an expensive thing to do. Insurance, health insurance, you know, offsets some of the gains we gain from occupational tax. So, you know, it's a great thing that we have that. So it's insurance is tough.
And unlike maybe state government, county government, I would assume makes its entire contribution each year to the employee's retirement.
We do.
Okay.
We do. So, you know, they've got great benefits. It's one thing they do have, and we did do a wage increase for our county barn and sanitation workers, road department. We recently done that, did some adjustments on that, and everybody seems to be real happy with that.
And I think one thing is we talk about not raising property taxes, and I know before we got together, you were over in the PVA office.
Yeah.
People may pay more in taxes, but that's because of the value of their property.
Correct.
So that takes kind of, if you want to take the pressure off your office and send it across the hall.
Yeah, well, it takes, you know, it takes care of itself in a lot of ways. From him, the property itself does its own increase. And, you know, everybody wants their property to go up in value.
They don't want to pay more taxes on it, but yeah.
They don't want to pay more taxes, but it's not the way it, you know, it's not the way it works. But our property values seem to be going up a little bit, you know.
All right. I know, you know, when I used to interview, you know, Judge Mattingly, and the year before he went out of office, I guess early in 14, and halfway through 14, he was hoping that the E911 system would be ready to go before he left office. Didn't happen through no fault of anybody's, just all the red tape, I guess, that goes on.
Exactly.
You've been in office a year, and I understand we're getting pretty darn close.
We are landline live, I guess you can call it. All the landlines have been changed over to E911, so they no longer go through State Police Dispatch in Columbia. They now go through Lexington, Fayette County. And January the 14th is the projected date for two of our cell phone providers to be switched over, and I've heard nothing but good. One thing that's really helped is the location of accidents. They can put the points in, and basically you can pinpoint where they're at.
Have there been, so you said your landline live, so if someone has called 911 in the last few days, it's now going through the new system?
Exactly, yeah, oh yeah, it's been on since, I guess, I can't remember the exact date, but it's been going for a couple months now.
Have you, the reviews from it, you're saying?
It's really good. I haven't, you know, Fire and Rescue seems to be real happy with it. This is going to be a big help.
All right, let's show that.
Yeah, these are the signs that we're going to be giving out probably starting next week. we're waiting on a list to provide when you do come in. We will provide, the county is paying for one sign per address. If something happens to that sign, we will be able to tell you to go somewhere to get another one, but we will provide one, and it'll have two sets of numbers, so it'll be visible on both sides. The main thing about these signs is they need to be put in a visible area closest to the drive of your residence. If you've got a mailbox that's down the road, don't put it on your mailbox. It's got to be, if your mailbox is right on your driveway, that'd be a great spot for your sign. Because if you don't put it next to your driveway, they're not going to know exactly how to get to you. And that's our main concern, is to be able to get to you in an emergency.
All right. A lot of the rural areas. So you're saying if a farmer has fencing right up next to his driveway, the best place is on that fence right next to his driveway.
Exactly.
Maybe not on the mailbox that may be
across the road. Yeah. You need to have it closest to your driveway as possible, because that's where they're going to see it and realize hey, this is where we got to go. So.
You said these are going to be available. People need to come to the government office or
where you pay your garbage bill, second floor, David R. Horgan Government Building. We will have them available starting probably next week. We're waiting on our list so we can have them sign and check them off. If you're going to come in and want to call and say I'm coming in, we could have them ready for you. But basically, just come up here and get them. We will not place them on here for you because we don't know your application. I suggest you figure out before you stick the numbers on, because they're going to be hard to take on at all. So make sure when you get them, know your application of how you're going to apply the sign. Okay,
let's talk about that for a minute. Let's say there's a widow on the Marion Casey County line.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way they can get these if they don't make it into town, or are there other options?
There is, and we're going to get a list of maybe even some people that would volunteer and put them up for people, or we thought about at one time doing some Saturdays maybe. It hasn't got completely lined out yet, but we want people to pick them up. I mean, we've bought them. We've got plenty for everybody.
How many thousands did you have to buy?
We bought half of the addresses in Marion County, which is around 8,600, because we don't know, but we've got the option to fill the whole order. But we didn't want to have no participation, not have any have all these signs left over. So we kind of did the half. If it goes well, which I hope it does, we will fill the rest of the order.
Okay, and this goes for city residents. This is the old city versus county. In this situation, everyone is a county resident.
Exactly, and that's kind of why we didn't order a lot of them either, because Lebanon already has an ordinance in place, and a lot of those folks will not need a sign. So we didn't feel like to fill the whole order would be a waste of money. So we did buy 4,000, and we've got them here. And we had a list. Lincoln Trail provided. We sent a list in, and they give us the number of each amount of each number that we needed. So we didn't go overboard and buy all the same. We did it the right way.
You have enough ones and twos and threes
and threes and zeros and all. And we didn't just buy so much of each one. We did do a list to do that. So.
Well, that's like back in the day. We did beer signs. And you'd get those post-on numbers that you just peel off. You were always running. You had to figure out, okay, what are they going to sell beer for?
Yeah.
And if it's $9.99, boy, you better get a bunch of those. But as soon as it would change, you'd have to buy some more ones, more zeros, and it seemed like you were always. So you're in pretty good shape. You say on the numbers as well.
We're in good shape.
All right, so people basically can come and start picking them up.
Starting next week.
Okay.
That's what we're shooting for. We're going to run an ad in the paper probably next week also. And
would there be notices on garbage bills or anything, or is it word of mouth, or is it stuff like this?
TV will be one of our best ways to get it out, and newspaper, and Gary comes to all the meetings, and We did talk about it at the past meeting, so when you do come to pick up your garbage or pay your garbage bill, just ask if we need to get the list so we'll know who does pick them up. That's our main thing. So they could actually be ready. Sharon is doing some final changes on the list right now, so they could be ready this week.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them picking them up now, really, if they want to do that.
All right, and that brings to point another thing that I've been reading about. A lot of counties fund this system through the landline
Exactly.
payments that go to the state, and you get reimbursed. And I guess with the number of landline phones going down, there's less money in that pot.
That's a problem that a lot of counties are facing. It's the tax goes down, so they're trying to actually do some different taxes on cell phones to take care of that. But one thing that Marion County has done, and I know it's taken a long time for us to do this, but Lebanon and Marion counties worked together on dispatch. A lot of other counties went and built these brand new dispatch centers, spent a lot of money. Actually, our cost right now, it seems to be like what we have in dispatch. They're doing a great job. So I'm not saying we'll never need another dispatcher because our county's growing and our town's growing, but we possibly could. But it's not a lot different than we were paying before. So
the funds that you will get from the state are enough to pay without going into city coffers or county coffers?
It should be, and that's, like I say, it's one good thing that the more people that go with Lexington, the provider, the less our cost will be. So, there's 22 counties right now under that system.
And I think that was in one story I read that they're wanting more counties to
absorb some of the cost.
Yeah,
but it's any other these, like I say, we didn't go out and build $1 million building, and we didn't hire a lot more people. Actually, Wes Cox, he is now the E911 director. Because we had to have somebody to communicate, and Wes does a great job with that. And
all right, I think in the past, if memory serves me correct, and it doesn't do a very good job these days, the dispatch cost for city and county is basically the number of calls that come in, and if a certain percentage comes from the county, you pay that a portion. How do you work that with the city?
We share the cost of the expense of the dispatch and by call volume. But what we've done in our new agreement, it's basically 70-30. So they used to do it.
Who pays the 70?
The county pays the 70. The used to be the now the city pays the 70. I'm sorry. Used to be the pro rata share, whatever call per. But it's been so close over the years that the number was, so we just made it a complete 70-30. So that's taking care of that, and that's one thing we did change in that. Rather than breaking down 66% versus 34 or whatever, it was always a little different every month, but it always averaged out about the same.
So your costs, do you know what your costs are for dispatch?
Dennis, I really couldn't tell you right now because we haven't got completely. We're still currently paying for the state police out of Columbia for their part, so we will not know until we get completely live.
But that 30%, like you said, is a lot less than trying to hire a duplication of services, if you would.
Exactly right. And we got a good all new equipment at the center. And one thing, we will actually have money left over out of those funds every month, which we will hold for improvements later on. A lot of people spend it in salaries, they spend it in equipment, and that's why a lot of counties are struggling with it. It's become a burden to the county. The way we're doing it now, if it continues to be the way it is, then we should be able to keep our equipment updated, and everything should be really good.
All right, and I guess there's really not a lot of, once the equipment is in, there's not a lot of additional cost in running the dispatch center itself?
Actually, the dispatchers, it doesn't seem to be that much more difficult. I know the initial part of it was different. and learning all what it will do. But, you know, they do a good job. Sheila and all those at the dispatch do a great job. Alvin and all those people, they picked up real well, and they're doing a really good job. Had a lot of compliments already on it, you know. So.
You know, we talked to the mayor, and obviously this is today is the 11th, is the coldest day that we've had so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
We hear about Louisville, we hear about some of the other cities with a little bit of snow. I guess you guys are prepared and to get out on it.
We are. Trucks are ready. Actually, Tommy called me yesterday morning about 7:30 and said that he had already been out, and he said there were a few small slick spots, not a lot. And we basically decided that it was going to warm up enough to within an hour they would be gone. So we would have wasted our time and our salt.
By the time you got the guys in and got them out?
Exactly. So we decided, and we didn't have any problems, but it is a difficult decision sometimes.
What is your protocol? Tommy basically takes a look at it, and
Tommy goes out, and usually Jimmy Rakes will go out, and Tommy's been doing this job a long time, and understands, sometimes the salt doesn't do any good anyway. It's got to be certain temperatures and all that. So I rely on him for that, and he does a good job. Last year, I know we'd had a lot of compliments on what they did do. So that's how we handle it.
All right, let's get away from winter, spring. What's my buddy say? In 60 days, we may be playing golf again. Okay.
Exactly.
What major road projects do you have that are going to be coming up to people that may affect some people? Any changes or anything in county roads, or just blacktopping?
This normal blacktopping right now. This 49 project right here behind us. They're in the process of picking a route. They've got a couple of them narrowed down. Haven't decided for sure which one they're going to go with. Like I say, with a new governor, it's kind of up in the air what we're going to be able to do anyway. It's that program. We had the first year I was in, we had an 80-20 bridge fund, which John G. took advantage of that every year, which is a great program for the counties. Whether or not that stays around, that went with the governor. So I really don't know where we're going to be at. I've been hearing that part of what he was going to cut was going to be roads and bridges. So that's could be a big hit to the counties. But our county actually, is in pretty good shape. We're very fortunate. We actually got the money to do a lot of improvements ourselves. Whether or not the state gives us money, we can't afford to do a lot ourselves. That's what we typically do. So.
Okay. Judge, we appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hope to be back in another month or two.
Sounds good.
And have some more things to talk about. For Channel 6 Community Focus, I'm Dennis George.
Thank you.